Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Laura Ledbetter, and I am a second grade teacher here at George Washington Carver Elementary. I'm going to be presenting this webinar today, and my moderator is Princess Netherly, and she is a second grade teacher at Dorsey Elementary. So, the topic of our webinar today is Go Formative with GoFormative.com. And I hope everyone is doing great today on this very, very, very cold and windy day. So I'm going to go ahead and do a couple things here. All right. So once again, the topic of our webinar is Go Formative with GoFormative.com, or some people just call it Formative.com. GoFormative.com is an assessment tool where students can type, draw, or submit images to demonstrate their understanding of any subject. And when I say any, it can be any subject: math, science, social studies, reading, grammar, spelling. It's pretty cool. With Go Formative, you can build live formative assessments, assignments, homework, exit tickets, classwork, you name it, you can build it. Go Formative will display student work as it happens, which is real life, and it also keeps track of students' growth according to your standards that you set. If you don't want to create an assignment from scratch, just upload any of your documents, click to add places for your students to respond, and then edit any question and their details. Now, as we proceed, just remember Princess is moderating our webinar today. So if there are any questions that you have along the way, please type them into the chat window and we'll get right to them. The ISTE standard that this webinar aligns with is the Empowered Learner. With the Empowered Learner, students leverage technology to take an active role in choosing, achieving, and demonstrating competency in their learning goals, informed by the learning sciences. To begin using Go Formative, you will have to go to the web link of www.goformative.com, and that would be spelled GoFormative.com. You should go ahead and create an account for free, and the accounts are free for both teachers as well as students. After you create your account, go ahead and click login and use your Google login. In case you forgot what your Google login is, it's your school email address and your password that you use with your email. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera back on now and share my screen with you. And we're going to go into Go Formative. I should be sharing my screen. And I'm going to bring up Go Formative. Now, I went ahead and took the my Go Formative. I have it logging in when I log on to my personal computers. So I went ahead and logged in. Once you're logged in, you should create your class. And I've created a couple of classes, but because of privacy, I'm only going to show you my test class. My children I enrolled 3 of my children in the test class, but gave them my dogs' names. So just to keep their identity private. Once you've logged in, create your class. When you create your classes, let me see if I can get home real quick. When you create your classes, there we go. It's moving now. After you create your classes, you will have a screen like this. If you use Google Classroom, you can import your classes, but fear not, if you don't use Google Classroom, I found the easiest way to get each student into my class, especially with the smaller learners like I have, is to create their accounts for them. The other way to get students into your classroom is to have each student log into goformative.com and enter the classroom code that's given. And for our classroom code here, my classroom code was EVSOPK, just so you can see where it is. So I'm kind of circling it right there. Before creating any formatives, I would suggest to you that you go into settings and set your standards for each subject. I set my standards to the Texas grade 2 and included my ELPs for ELA reading, ELA math, and ELA science, and social studies. And once you've done this, you'll be ready to create your first formative. And I'm going to show you some of the formatives that I have created with my test class. And that's what I actually called it. When you do create your classroom, you have to give it a label. And my real classroom are my nuggets for 2017 and 18. And my label I gave it was C1. For the test class, I just used C2 for my test class. And go ahead and go into my test class. I opened it up and you'll see 3 of my kids. My kids are Amos, Fuzzy, and High Tech. And they were all in about an hour to 2 hours ago. I am going to now go into my formatives. Your formatives are up in your upper left-hand corner. And these are ones that I created. My first formative I created, I'm going to show you science one. And I used Wind Explorations, which is a science unit that we're just finishing up. I actually used questions that were embedded into our SchoolNet curriculum. And I used this one as an end of the week checkup to make sure all my kids were on track. I'll go ahead and go into it and show you what it looks like. This is what one that has been created looks like. Okay. To create questions on a formative, or here, let me go ahead and go back. I'm going to go ahead and show you what we do to create a new formative before I go into a formative. To create a new formative, you're on your home page here. Go ahead and click your plus to create a new formative. I always try to give my formatives titles. And we're just going to call this one Christmas is Coming. To add different questions, you click your plus sign. I'm going to click it for you. When you're adding different questions, you can add different things like images, text blocks, whiteboards, video. To add questions, you could add questions that are multiple choice, multiple selection, short answer, essay, show your work, and true and false. And they do have an advanced question option. And with my smaller kids, I have not even attempted to go there. We kind of started out slower with this. I'm going to create a multiple choice question for you. Or here, let's go with multiple choice. For Christmas is coming, I'll put a question in. I know that all of us teachers can answer probably. How many days until winter break? You should give answers, let's say 34 for each of your questions. Say 7, 299, and we all know the answer if we count tomorrow, and then all of next week is 6. I'm going to go ahead and mark that as my answer so that you know that that's the answer. I'm going to create another question. I'm going to create a true-false. My true-false question I'm going to create would be, a true-false question would be, most all teachers hate winter break. We all know that that's a false question because all of us enjoy winter break. It's our time to go back and recharge and come back for that spring semester. And a third question I'm going to add would be a whiteboard question or a show your our work. Let's go with the show your work. Draw your face on, and let's say draw your face expression during winter break. I found that these draws are one of my kids' favorites because they actually get to draw a picture on their iPad. And then you would assign it for 3 questions there. And I'm going to assign it just to my test class. So now my questions are live on that one. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the home and go back into the science that I originally went in to show you. I'm going to show you the questions I created for my science. The science questions I created were a multiple choice question was our first one, was what does an anemometer tell you about the atmosphere? The second question was what was the job of a wind vane? And the third question was draw a picture of a weather vane. Those are my 3 little questions I asked. I go into my classes. Oh, goodness. I think I went back one. Too many. Back into my formatives. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to show you my responses so you can see what they look like on the kids in. My 3 kids who answered were, what does an anemometer tell you about the atmosphere? And they all 3 answered wind speed, which was a correct answer. To go to my second question, what's the job of a wind vane? And all 3 answered correctly. Fuzzy just put the just abbreviated for the directions, but I knew what Fuzzy was trying to say. And High Tech wanted to make sure that I knew it was a spinner of wind direction. And the third question, and these are their answers. You could see their drawings. Amos made sure I knew that it would spin around. And I liked that both High Tech and Fuzzy put them on barns and made little birds up at the top. And I got the idea. I knew that they knew what a weather vane was. So all 3 of those got the answers correct. One neat thing about all of their questions their answers is you can give them live help, you can intervene at any time, and you can actually watch them answer, and that's pretty neat. Um, it's a pretty neat option for them. Because we don't have any students that are live today, I really can't demonstrate this feature, but I can show you how to access it. When the students are completing their formative, you would click on View, and the responses can be seen by all of them, all of you. Or the responses can be seen by the teacher. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied now. If I go back home, another feature is on the side is you can have real-time feedback. When you're viewing all of their questions, you can click on a student's single response. And I'll go into How to Catch Santa because that was a book we read aloud. And I'm going to look at their responses. And one of our questions was, what is a question that you would like to ask Santa? I clicked on it, and you can give a real-time response. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. I have a little window that's open. I have a real-time response. It's right at the bottom when you click on their answer. And you can type each kid a response and give them immediate feedback that'll pop up on their screen. I'm sorry that you can't even see that because of my box that's there. I'm not sure. When you press send on it, I mean, the kids get instant feedback, and you know that they've seen your feedback because their faces will light up. The instant feedback is a helpful option, especially if you're doing math and subtraction with regrouping, and you have the kiddos that are making the same mistake and they're forgetting to regroup and they're getting their subtraction problem wrong every time. You can intervene and show them and circle stuff on where they're working so that they can see how to unstick themselves from the problem or to get it correct. Let me go back to my home again one more time. There's so much that is offered with Go Formative. I'm just skimming the top of it. There's just so much that's offered. My suggestion to you would just be to dive in to this website, but take it slow. Don't try to take on too much at one time because you will get totally confused and overwhelmed. If you do find yourself getting stuck, Go Formative offers a variety of help. The Help Center is, as well as the Getting Started sets, the Getting Started sets and the video tutorials are all wonderful. And to get to all of those, you would go to the little question mark, the little blue question mark up on your right-hand side. If you click it, you could do the how-to set, how to get started set. Tells you anything and everything you want to know. The helpful resources, the Help Center, which I spoke about, is right here. There are video tutorials, which are wonderful. And the community center is pretty neat. You can get in and collaborate with other teachers about different things. Let me show you the Help Center. The Help Centers, I mean, you just put your question up at the top. And if someone's already answered it, it'll pop up. There's just a lot of neat little things with this. It's just an awesome website that you just should jump right in and dive into and take advantage of. Okay. Were there any questions that I can answer for you about Go Formative? Let's see if anyone has any questions. While we're waiting on that, I'm going to unshare my screen. Should see me again. I'm not seeing any questions, or we're not seeing any questions popping up. If there are ever any questions, feel free to find me. Once again, my name is Laura Ledbetter. I'm a teacher at Carver Elementary, and I will be happy to run through anything that you have questions about. So thanks for joining us today for this webinar. Post the link for the CPE credit in the chat box. Feel free to follow either of us on Twitter or both of us on Twitter. I am at Tular Ledbetter, and Princess is at P Netherly. And Princess also has a great blog. You might want to follow her. Her blog is Teaching Love Cupcakes. Blog at one more time, teachinglovecupcakes.blogspot.com. And sorry for being tongue-tied there. Thanks again for joining us today. And Princess is going to go ahead and post the link. And we will sign off, and everybody keep warm. We'll see you the next time.